right? So does this frustrate you, getting a phone call right after filling out a contact form? Because if you wanted to call him, you would have called him, right? The phone number was there. I had that. I filled out a contact form. 30 seconds later, phone rings. I'm like, I didn't want to talk to you. I just send me some information, right? What about salespeople who aren't listening to what you want and need? You get that? You can tell they're not paying attention. They're not really listening to you. Or I had one time, I'm looking at a jewelry counter and it's, oh, that looks nice for my wife. I said, how much is that? And they said, oh, that's this much, but this one's only this much. And I'm thinking, do I look like I can't afford that? Like, you shouldn't be judging me that. You know, my dead presidents in my pocket are the same as everybody else's, right? But how do I feel then? Like I don't want to buy from you. How about being asked for a tip everywhere now? Hang on to that thought. How about this? Being charged a fee for using a credit card or not taking Apple Pay. You know that Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart, you can't use Apple Pay, like 3 of the biggest companies out there. And I want to just pay with my watch. Because I paid for that watch. I want to pay with that watch. Or what about not contactless pay, right? Same thing. How about this? Companies that don't return your call. Companies that don't return your message. I mentioned yesterday that my son's engaged and he's going to give me the notes from he and his fiance about the vendors out in California and how they are or are not doing and getting back to them. She's going to save all the emails for me and things. What about companies that don't follow up or follow through? So you reach out to them. We put this air conditioning system in our bedroom and we went with the company that followed up. Everybody came for an estimate and all the companies but one just left it at that. So now here's the question. How many of those things are you doing to your customers? How many of those same things that frustrate you, maybe not my list, but what about you as a customer? What about the things that are frustrating you? You have to start to think, if that frustrates me, am I doing that to my customers? Am I charging them a fee for using a credit card when I hate that? And I know you hate paying the credit card fee, believe me, I know that, I do too. But I have this in actually a couple of my books, and I've spoken about this on my podcast. I price my services as if everybody's going to pay me by credit card. They don't. But when they do, it doesn't cost me anything because I already figured that in. When they don't pay me by credit card, I just made 3%. See, that's just a mind shift. My prices are that way. So again, what are you doing to frustrate your customers that would frustrate you if you were on the other side of the table? So I'm going to give you 9 ways you're creating friction in your sales process. And I'll put the QR code up again if you want to get the slides, if you don't want to take a picture of everyone. So, long contact forms. You want to contact somebody, you go on your phone, you're on desktop, and you got to scroll, you got to fill in, you got to fill in. You guys like that? No, as little as possible. That's the key. If you want to get more inquiries, shorten your contact form. Statistically, it's proven that the less fields you have, more people fill it out. The more fields you have, less people fill it out. Just taking fields off, we'll do that. Unnecessary required fields. See, when we do our secret shopping, we pretend that we're an engaged couple. We fill out your contact forms. And I see required phone numbers all the time. Now remember, if they wanted to call you, they would have called you. When you require the phone number, what you don't realize is there are some people who look at that and say, I'm not filling this out at all. But you can't see that. If you could see people that went to your form and like, no, kind of like abandoned shopping carts, you know, the abandoned shopping carts. You're walking through Target, you turn the corner, there's a cart full of stuff, somebody thought better of that, right? Well, the same thing happens online. People put stuff in a cart. I've done it, you've probably done it. And then you decide not to check out. Well, how many people went to your contact form and said, I don't want to give you my phone number. I don't want you to call me, but you're requiring it, Clive, so sorry, no, not filling it out. So what do you really need to know to get an inquiry? Well, if it's online, you need their name, their email, you can require that. That's all you really need. What do you want to know? That's different. But what do you need to know? Now, if you want to put the phone number field, it's fine. Just don't make it required. And if somebody puts their phone number when it's not required, what are they telling you?
Call me.
Call me, text me, use it, right? That's what they're telling you. So why don't you let them signal to you that it's okay to do that? And then we had one yesterday in our secret shopping. It was asking for the venue name, the venue address, and the venue phone number. You think they have that handy?
They don't even need it.
You don't need it, right? Because you can look up the address. You can look up the phone number. Why are you making them do the work when they're the customer? Number 3, asking for the caller meeting right away. I spoke about it yesterday. I'll speak about this until I stop speaking. If you want to get ghosted less, stop asking for the caller meeting as the only thing you're asking for in your first reply. Your biggest opportunity is people that have reached out to you and they're ghosting you because they already reached out. They already think you're a good fit. They already like what they've seen, read, heard, watched, or experienced themselves. And they're ghosting you because they don't want to have a call yet. They don't want to have a meeting yet. They don't want to come in and see you yet. It doesn't mean they won't. They just don't want to do that now. And then yesterday in our meeting, right, we had that guy from a venue, local venue in town, and he got an inquiry that said, I'd like to come and see your venue. Well, then that's okay, because that's what they're asking for. Number 4, sending a brochure, sending a price list, sending them social links. All of these things are friction because they distract them from doing the one thing that you want them to do. Reply to your message. But you gave them something to read, something to watch, a link to go someplace. And a lot of the ones I see, we inquire through your website and they send us a link to go to their website. If they have OCD, they're just going to keep going here, 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 here. Right? Why would you send me back where I came from when I already made an inquiry? Why would you send me a brochure whose main purpose is to get someone to inquire when they already did? Why would you send me to your social media where every one of your competitors lives? So don't distract them when you want them to reply to you now. Same thing with sending them PDFs, e-mags, things like that. I have people that I know have spent good money to make these e-mags online, these e-magazines, where he turns the pages looking at their brochure, and it's gorgeous, and it's so tiny on my phone I can't read anything. Not a good user experience. If your audience is reading their messages on their phone, which they are, send them things that are compatible for the phone. When I say compatible, I don't mean it opens, because we all have that experience of going to a restaurant now and you have to scan the QR code to get the menu, and what is it? A PDF of their menu, which you can't read because you have to pinch. So they've never stood in your shoes. They've never said, hey, is this an experience? Am I going to be able to find what I want to eat here? Pinch, pinch, right? Sending them long emails. How many screens do you want that email to be when you're reading it? 1. Have you seen your emails to people on your phone? Simplest thing to do for the next week, BCC yourself on every email you send. In most email programs, you can turn that on and it'll do it automatically. You won't have to add yourself. You can just go into your settings and say BCC and it'll send you that message every time. But send it to yourself if you have different email addresses to see, does it go to spam? Because I had one, somebody that was in the class yesterday, I sent out the slides from the class, and Greg's went, I got a return message, undeliverable, because the spam filter was blocking it because of the link. So I sent it again, blocked it again. So I sent it on Facebook Messenger, because I don't think there's a spam filter there. But long emails, you don't want to read a long email, they don't want to read a long email. Look at your own email. So you write it on your laptop, write it on your desktop. If I'm sitting in my office, it's a 27-inch widescreen monitor, one line across is about 6 lines on my phone. So that short email, not so short on a phone. You don't want to read the long one, they don't want to read the long one. Trying to change the communication method too soon. Remember what I said, they will get on the phone, but not necessarily right away. So here's what fools you. You're asking for a call or meeting right away, and some people do it. So you think, well, if some people do it, everybody should do it. No, because everybody should do it, they would have been doing it, but they're not doing it because they don't want to get on the call or have a meeting right now. So your opportunity, and I'll say this again and again, your biggest opportunity is people that reached out, you sent them a message, they don't want to do whatever you said the first time, try something different. Try not asking for the call and meeting right away. Try having a conversation. I always say when you get a digital message, treat it the same as if the phone had just rung. If the phone rings, what do you know about the person on the other end? Nothing. Right? Hi, thanks for calling Smash Booth. My name is Shannon. How can I help you today? Oh, we're planning a fill in the blank, a wedding, a corporate party, whatever. Fantastic. We'd love to make it great. Where's the event going to be? That's how the conversation goes. How long was what I said, Shannon? About 3 sentences. Going to fit on one screen, going to have one question at the end, that's it. And then they'll tell you something, and then you'll say something, and now you're playing, pick your game. Ping pong, tennis, pickleball, whatever it is. Right? But the key is you're not going for the win. You're going for the easy lob so they can hit it back to you nice and easy. You're trying to ask things that they want to tell you. If you try to change the communication method too soon, some people are just not going to respond because they don't want to fill in the blank. Have a Zoom call, come in for a meeting, talk on the phone. Others will, not everybody. So the easiest way to do that is to take a PS, put a PS that says, PS, if you'd like to arrange a call with one of our fill in the blank, wedding specialists, corporate specialists, keen stage, whatever, click here for scheduling a meeting. And now it's not the main thing, it's the other thing. And I said this yesterday, results, results, results. We're not selling services, we're selling the results of them choosing you for those products and services. So if your messages, if your website, if everything that you have talks about you, they don't care. And you sound like just like everybody else. So what you have to be talking about is your event, your wedding, your party, your holiday party, your bar mitzvah, your kinsey, your school event, your prom, your you. I call it the you test. Just search the page for the word you. In every browser, in every program that you have, go to edit, find on page, type the word you. It'll tell you how many times it appears. If it's not there, you're not talking to the person reading it. You're saying, we do great stuff. We have this product. We have this service. We've done thousands of events. You know which one they care about? Theirs. So tell them what you're going to do for them. Don't tell them what you've done unless you connect that. And then not accept credit or debit cards, at least for the deposit. I get it, some of you for liability reasons, whatever, you don't want to take it for the final payment. I also get that you might not want to take hundreds or thousands of dollars on credit card because of those fees again. I get that. But for a deposit, you want somebody to give you money now? Don't ask them for a check. Right? Because if they're millennials and Gen Zs, they may not have a checkbook. Right? They may not have a checkbook. I realized something. I have 2 millennial sons. I sit in an office that has an all-in-one inkjet printer, a dedicated Canon dye sublimation photo printer, a label printer, and a color laser printer. And I realized that my sons and their friends don't have even one printer in their places. Not even one. Millennials, they don't have one. I said, well, where do you print stuff? They said, why would we need to print anything? They can e-sign, they don't need to. So now, are you sending people contracts to print out, sign, scan, and send back to you? Yeah, I got one of those recently. Now, I had the technology for that. No, I'm sorry, I was away, and I didn't have the technology. I had to go to the UPS store, email it to them, have them print it out so that I could sign it, so that they could notarize it, so that they could put it in an envelope, and I was trying to catch a plane at the same time. Or charging them the fee. Again, what do you feel as a customer when somebody says this? Yesterday I was looking for postcards. I have a 7-year-old grandson. I'm trying to send him postcards from wherever I go so he can find me on a map. Kind of like Where's Waldo, except it's Where's Papa, right? 3 stores till I found a postcard. Because nobody mails anymore, right? I go in, 3 postcards for $1.49. I'm like, great, I don't want the change, I go to charge it. He said, that's 50-cent fee for using a credit card or a debit card. So I gave it to him. I gave him the $5 bill and they got the change. Then I get to my room and I have 40 postcard stamps that I got for this, except these postcards are oversized and I can't use postcard stamps. Now I have to go find a stamp. Not making it easy for me. What's that? I did not find a stamp yet. I will, though I haven't had time setting up my booth. If anybody has a stamp in their bag, just let me know, I'll buy it from you. I'll even pay the credit card fee. This is a big one. We do things that make it easier for us, but we don't take into account, does it make it easier for the customer? I was on a Zoom call with a bunch of businesses, and I was asking about different they're doing, and one of the things that somebody said is, well, it's easier for me if. I said, stop. Is that easier for your customer? Or is it just easier for you? Because it would be easier for you if they pick up the phone and call you. It would be easier for you if they would just, wire you the money so you didn't have to pay a credit card fee. All these things would be easier for you. But are you losing customers because you're making it hard? I spoke last week at the Cater Source conference, and somebody had said to me at one of my events, you're probably the most expensive speaker we have, but you're the easiest to do business with. I said, well, if I was the most expensive and the hardest to do business with, we wouldn't be talking. Right? Do you want to work with someone who's high-priced and hard to do business with? No. I think the higher your price goes, you should be the easiest. The absolute easiest to do business with. So how about this? Let's say you have a bad experience with a business. But then it ends up okay. Because eventually they get it right. Have you ever had that? It starts out bad. Maybe it's a bad meal in a restaurant, or maybe it's something there, right? I had with these 3 companies here. Stop and Shop, had to return something. The woman said every word of the script, but the way she said it made us feel, my wife and I, like we were interrupting her life. You ever get that attitude from someone? But I'm listening to the words going, she says it. She's saying the right things. But her body language did not match that. Right? PNC I already told you about. To me, I travel a lot. I said, I'm going to buy a really good bag that'll last longer. I had it 11 months. Last summer, I'm leaving for an 8-day trip. I get to the airport, take the bag out of the car, pull that handle up, and it came off in my hand. And I'm standing there going, now what? The 2 bars are up there. It's like, I get it in. I asked them for tape. They gave me that fragile tape. I don't know at the top. I call up to me figuring I'm going to have a good experience. This is a great company, right? They said, just bring it into any of our stores. We'll send it out for repair and send it back to you. I said, how does that help me at the airport at the beginning of an 8-day trip? Like, what am I supposed to get, Piggly Wiggly bags and start carrying around my clothes? Well, eventually, in Sarasota, I saw somebody from Sarasota before, eventually in Sarasota, they brought a bag to the store and I was able to go exchange it. So I got what I needed. After somebody at the conference called somebody that they knew at Toomey to get somebody to do it. Should they have had to do that?
No.
No, not at that price. This is friction. So instead of me telling you about the wonderful experience that they did, what am I telling you about? The friction. What are they talking about with you? What is my son and his fiance going to be talking about when they tell me about the friction? So here's 6 ways you're creating friction on your websites. It's not mobile friendly, or the way it responds is not good. Now what I mean by that is mobile friendly, you all see it, you open up a website on your phone and it adapts itself, right? Responsive design. But doesn't respond well. I was at a venue in Pennsylvania last week, 2 weeks ago, and when we looked at their desktop, there was this beautiful picture of a couple. Now it's a golf course based venue. When we went on mobile, it was a golf club with a golf ball on a tee. Now, if you're doing weddings and you're a golf course-based resort, you're probably getting a lot of people looking on mobile, right? Agreed? Now, is that attractive to a couple who's looking to get married? There's a golf ball on a tee and a golf club. See, they didn't look at it that way. Why? Because they look at their website on laptop and desktop, when 80% of their audience is looking there. How many of you have Google Analytics for your websites? Okay, not enough hands. It's free. It's totally free. Get it signed up. There's a few things you want to know. I did a podcast about this. The only 3 things I really care about. How much of the traffic is mobile? I don't want you to guess. It's easy. It's free to find out. What pages are they looking at? You might have, how many of you have a testimonials page on your website? Right? When you get to Google Analytics, it's going to show you nobody's looking at it. Well, why would they? It's your website. What are the chances you put anything negative there? It's your love fest. Right? And then where's the traffic coming from? There's other things that you could look at, but those are the 3 that I really care about. Because I ask people, how much of your traffic is mobile? And they go, well, I think, I can tell you exactly on my website. Exactly, because I've had Google Analytics since 2011, since I had a website. So is it responding the way you want? I see funky things happening when you look. So you need to go to your website on your phone. And if you have an Apple, find a friend with an Android, go and look on theirs. No, it's okay. You can have friends that have Androids, it's all right. That was too easy, sorry. But you want to look at it on a different device because it might look different. And then go through every page. Don't skimp on this. Go scan down the pages and scroll and try to click on things and see what happens there. And you'll find that not everything looks the way you want it to look. What about no pricing information? When you're a customer, you're buying something you've never bought before. Are you looking for pricing information? Of course you are. If there's no pricing information, that's friction for people that are. And some people will inquire to get a price, and that's when you get a lot of inquiries from people that can't afford you. And then some people will pass you by because you didn't give them any idea how much it was. Tell them, you could not tell them, you could starting price, or you can put a price range. My price range is my favorite way to do that. Or not being transparent with the pricing. You do have pricing, but it's a little kind of sketchy there. Price range is being transparent to a point because you said, this is our range, this is where most people end up. That's my favorite way to do it if you don't want to give exact price. You put full pricing, they might shop you against someone else without giving you a chance, so I'm not always a fan of putting full pricing. So if it's not clear, I have some people, I've looked at their sites, and then you have to go to this page, and then that page, and then add this, and then do that, and then there's delivery, and then it's not as clear as they think it is. Calls to action. What's the purpose of your website?
Get people to call you.
Get people to inquire, not necessarily call you. I know you want them to call. But the purpose of your website is to convert someone who comes to taking the next action. Now, there are some of you, anybody have here, they can book on your website, credit card and all, put it in there? Okay, got a couple. So the first thing you want them to do is that, right? And if they don't do that, what do you want them to do? Make an inquiry. Let's reach out. So is every page of your website geared towards getting them to take the next step? Now the next step might be looking at a different page, but every place on your site. So yesterday we were looking at websites of people in this workshop, and I said, what did we say here, right? Not enough calls to action, not enough calls to action. So you can't have it once at the bottom of the page. How many of you ever get to the bottom of the page? So it's got to be throughout the page again and again. As I scroll, I shouldn't go more than 2 screens without seeing another call to action. And a call to action should be easy, clear, and it should not just be call us. And it should not say book us now unless it's those people that raise their hand and you can actually book them now. Because if all it is a contact form, there are people that won't push that button. I think I said this yesterday. I have a 7-year-old grandson. He pushes every button to find out what happens. 27-year-olds don't push the button because they're like, I'm not pushing the button. I don't know what's going to happen. Right? Have you ever had that? I don't know what's going to happen. There's a marketing book called Waiting for Your Cat to Bark. And it said to think of the buttons on your website as questions that are answered when you click on them. So if the question is, how do I book you? And all I want to do is just ask a question, check availability, get a price. I'm not pushing that button. Because that button says, book us now. So go look at your website. Is there a contact button? Is it buried? Is it easy to find? Can I find a phone number if I did want to call you? Can I find an email if I want to email you? Can I click to text you if I want to text you? If you're international, is it WhatsApp? Can I click to WhatsApp you? Can you reduce the friction so that more people will take that action? I already said this, book us now, when it's just a contact form. Checking availability. A lot of your sites I see, DJs and photo booths, check availability is the main action you want them to take. And if that's the main action you want them to take and they're not ready for that, once again, they're not pushing the button. Because that button says check availability. What if they're like, I want to ask a question. I want to know about that 360 booth. I want to ask you something if there's enough room for that 360 in my venue. And it says check availability. I'm not pushing the button. So give them all the different options there. Don't just give them the ones that you want them to do. Give them the ones that they want to do. And here's your bonus. Once again, what's the word? Results. Stop talking about photo booths and DJs and lighting and CO2 cannons and all these other things that you have and we'll see in the trade show. Talk about the results of hiring you to bring those things to their event, because that's what they're really buying, is the results of that. And if what you sell doesn't look any different than the person sitting next to you, to them, whoever's cheaper wins. That's what it is. There's no reason for anybody to spend more money unless they perceive a difference. And the perceived difference has to be that your results will be better than theirs. And part of that, by the way, is the way you respond. Are you being responsive? Are you answering their questions? Are you asking them about them? Are you finding out what they want, what makes it successful? Like I said yesterday, 3 questions. What's the occasion? Who's coming? And what does success look and feel like? Or are you just saying, I have this booth, it's this much. Do you want to reserve it? Or we're a DJ and we can do lighting and photo booth, it's this much. Yeah, you sound like everybody else then. You need to reduce the friction. So let me give you some friction reducing tips here. By the way, do you know what WD-40 stands for?
Water displacement.
Water displacement number 40. Means there were 39 that didn't work. I just love they just left that there. We're just going to tell you this is the 40th one. And there you go. It's from Europe? Is it? Slovenia? Really? Fish oil? It's made of fish oil. I learned something today. Look at that. So I did this podcast. If you can't walk a mile in their shoes, at least take a few steps. Try to see what it's like to be there. You know what would be really good? Find a buddy, and you go to their website, and let them go to your website, and then try to go through the process as if you were someone who was looking for information. Because you have the curse of knowledge on your own website. So try to find somebody whose site you've never seen, and they've never seen yours, and maybe do that. And you can find all my podcasts here. There's over 200 of them there. You can go to podcast.ellenberg.com. It's on Apple, it's on YouTube, it's on Spotify, it's everywhere. Oh, and they're 5 to 10 minutes, by the way. So you can get it quick. So, when's the last time you read all of the text on your own website? How many of you ever have read all the words on your own website? Because some of you have SEO companies and stuff, right? I see that a lot. I actually had that yesterday. I'm reading the text. I'm like, wow, this was written by the SEO people. You can tell because they keep repeating the keywords. Right? Remember that movie Rain Man? Definitely repeat the keywords. Definitely repeat the keywords. It just doesn't read like a real person is writing it. It reads like I want Google to find these words. So read the words. You'll find things that are out of date. You'll find typos. You'll find things you don't do anymore. You'll find that you didn't say something that you do. You'll find pictures that don't apply anymore. If there's any dates on testimonials or dates on photos, take them off. You know, unless it looks so dated, you know, if I start seeing hair from the 70s on there, you take it off. But if your photos are still current and if the text is still current, why do you need to tell me it was 2018 that this person said this wonderful thing about you? Next one, try and navigate your own website on your phone. Or like I said, do it with a buddy so you can see what really frustrates them with that. I know you've seen your website on a phone, but you really haven't tried to navigate it. You really haven't tried to walk through and click on those links and see that text. You've just kind of, it opens up, yeah, it looks fine. No attachments. No attachments, priceless links in your first reply. Somebody says, I'd like to get pricing information. Do not just send them a price list. That's a license to shop. Have a conversation and then maybe send them the price list. Or say, I'd love to give you pricing information. We offer a lot of different things. I'm sure they're not all right for your event. Let me ask you a few questions so I can send you only what you need. You think they'd be okay with that? Yeah, because I told them I'm going to tell them. I'm just not telling them yet. Because I'm controlling this. I'm driving the bus. They just got on. I'm driving the bus. I want to be in control. I don't want it to be ambiguous. So instead of telling them about products and service, we tell them about result. That's your mantra. If I read my text, if I read my website, if I look at my brochures, is it just a whole lot of what I do or why they should choose me to get these results? And I bet you're going to find a whole lot of what. We have photo booths and lighting and DJ, and we have cold sparks, and we have all these other things, but you don't tell them why it'll make their party better. You don't tell them why they need you to bring it. It should be the results that only you can do for them. Because remember, the person sitting next to you probably does a really good job, and they can buy everything that you have, but it will be different results when they do it than when you do it. Because they're different people. Give them more contact options. Right? You said call, right? That's what you want your website to do. I see that a lot on sites. Call us now, call us now. Is that what they want to do? No. But please have a phone number. please have a phone number on your website. And I don't mean just in the small print at the bottom. I had a DJ, he messaged me on Instagram. I hate Instagram Messenger, right? Because I have to go over to Instagram Messenger instead of Facebook Messenger. It's not in the same thing there. It tells me that I have a message, but it won't show it to me, so it's, again, frustrating. But he messaged me there, so I went back. We go back and forth, and I'm like, I know this guy. And we actually met offline. So I wanted to give him a call, so I went to his website. Couldn't find a phone number. Looked in the footer, no phone number. Went to the contact page, no phone number. Now I'm really looking around. So I have had people that didn't know they didn't have a phone number on their website because they never looked for it. Well, he knew. It was intentional. He said, I'm only going to get spam calls. I said, you're going to get mostly spam calls. I will guarantee you that. But what if somebody wanted to call you? He said, I said, put it on. 2 months later, what is he getting? Mostly spam calls. And 2 mothers of brides called, who would have not, they couldn't call him before, right? Well, actually, no, the funny thing is when I first said, you don't have the phone number, he said, yeah, they don't want to call me anyway. I said, how do you know? If you don't have a phone number on your website, how would you know nobody wants to use it? And then 2 mothers of brides called. Now, might they have filled out his contact form? Maybe. But if their shopping method is picking up the phone and calling, maybe they go to the next company. So I have calling, emailing, texting, filling out a short form, filling my contact page form. I have all of those things. I have a widget, a company called Connect, K-E-N-E-C-T. I get more texts now than I ever did because there's this widget that says, text us now. And they're like, okay. I don't have live chat. If you have availability during normal business hours, live chat is great. People like to chat. They don't have to pick up the phone. They're having a conversation. My texting is kind of like live chatting when I'm available, but I'm not always available. So I don't make that implication by saying live chat. And if you do have live chat and you're not always available, have the one that you can turn off when you're not available. So it only offers it to them when you are available. But then any method they can contact you, pay attention. Pay attention. If they can message you on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, the Not Wedding Wire, your website, and all these other things, somebody's got to be paying attention. That's how I keep myself under 5,000 friends on Facebook, because it keeps cutting me off. So I wish people happy birthday every year, right, Karen? You get mine every year, right? And Karen acknowledges it every year, so she stays on the island. If you don't acknowledge me 2 years in a row, you're off the island. And I don't mean you have to write, that was so nice of you to think of me on my birthday. That's it. Just give me that. You can't do that once in 2 years, you're not paying attention. What if a customer reached out? Right, Sid, what if a customer reached out on Facebook? You'd answer, right? You know how many companies aren't paying attention to their messaging? Now what do you feel like with the customer? Well, they're not interested in my business. But you gave them that option, so you have to be paying attention to that. And if you want to reply, this, I'm telling you, this is the best tip. I got this from Alan Katz. He's a officiant in California. End every message that you want to reply with one question. I cannot tell you how many people come up to me and say, this one tip has gotten them more responses than anything else. I say, sure, because if you end with a period or an exclamation point, you've ended the conversation. Periods end conversations. They end statements. Exclamation points emphatically end statements. You want them to reply, ask a question. What do you do in person? Ask them questions. What do you do on the telephone? Ask them questions. What do you do on Zoom? Ask them questions. So if you end with, I look forward to hearing from you, good luck. When they're ready, they'll get back to you. This is a conversation, not an interrogation. So it's one question. One. Is Pascal here? Is Pascal here? There you go. Un, non trois. Okay? Yeah, we were looking at yours yesterday. It was nice questions, but they were all together. So just one and then the other. There you go. Just practicing my French. What about your conditions? Your terms and conditions, are they real legalese crazy? I had this woman, Sarah Fox, on my podcast. She's a recovering attorney. That's what she said. A recovering attorney. And her sister challenged her years ago, can you take this legalese gobbledygook, can you turn that into real language in only 500 words? And she said it took her a long time to figure it out, but she did. She took my contract, which she said was pretty good already because I tried to make it plain language. And she went through the whole thing, reformatted it, looks beautiful now. And it's 2 pages. With all the details, it's only 2 pages. Including what I'm going to do, payments and all that kind of stuff. All the legalese is just English now. There's no reason it has to be in Latin. No reason. There we go. Yeah, same thing. If you scan before, you'll get to this also. And then don't punish the masses for the ills of a few. What does that mean? You once had a customer who did something that you didn't like, so now you have a rule against that. And then you had another customer who once did something, so now you have a rule. And you give all these no's you can't do to your customers. You give them this list. You can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this. Why? Because of one bad apple? Why are you punishing everyone when most people just do all the things they need to do and these didn't, and now it's a rule? I live by, why not? Why shouldn't we say yes? There's a guy on Forbes.com, Mika Solomon, he said, the answer is yes. Now what was the question? Wouldn't you like that if you were the customer? Wouldn't you like the company to try to find a way to give you a yes, even if it's not the yes you asked for? Of course. But so many companies, I look at their terms, I look at their sites, and it's got the you can't, you can't, you can't, you can't. We won't. We won't do business with you. Because that's your attitude, that negative attitude, instead of, is there any good reason why not? Now, if you're not the owner, will you empower your people to get to a yes? Now, there are times we have to say no to customers. There are absolutely times we have to say no. I have clients in Texas, people want fireworks, can't have it. California want fireworks, you can't have it. Right? So instead of saying, no, we can't have fireworks, end of conversation, say, you know what, I wish I could do that. It's actually illegal here because of the fires. I'm sure you wouldn't want your wedding to start a fire. Well, what is it about fireworks that you like the idea? Oh, it's a big dramatic send-off. Well, I have dramatic send-off ideas. You do. And now we're talking. Instead of saying no, we're trying to find a yes. But I see all the time that you can't. Like, why not? Is there any good reason I can't do this or we can't do that? So go back and look at your terms. Go back and look at the papers you're giving to customers. Go back and give them the you cans and you can'ts, and then read it and go, that was like 12 years ago somebody did that. Why are we still telling everybody you can't do that? And then create processes that make it easier for both of you. If it makes it easier for you and not your customers, that's not good. Try to find a process that makes it easier for both of you. Because then everybody's happy. But you have to walk in their shoes. You have to take a few steps and say, yeah, why do we make them do this? Why do we have to do this? And then ask better questions. Ask questions that get them thinking about results. Ask questions that involve them and their guests in that conversation. Talk to them, and when you ask the question, you say, so how do you think your guests will feel about this mirror booth? And then when they go in the next room and there's a 360 there, you think that they'll love the idea that they could do one and the other and then choose? Yeah, now you just sold them 2 booths, right? Because we're talking about the results, we're not just talking about the stuff. So, would it make sense? I spoke about this yesterday. If you weren't here, it's a great way to start a conversation and ask for that sale. Would it make sense to add the photo booth? Why? For something fun for your guests when they aren't eating or dancing. A photo booth is an expense for a lot of people. But when it's something fun for their guests when they're not eating or dancing, it's no longer an expense. It's an investment in the happiness of their guests at the event. So yeah, just changing that question a little bit. Would it make sense to add the ceremony sound? I mentioned this yesterday as well. Website after website, DJ website. Discrete wireless microphones. $300. That's their ceremony sound. We're going to bring speakers, we're going to bring that. You might as well tell them, you're bringing the Evolve whatevers, 50s or whatever, like they know the difference. No, you want to add the ceremony sound so your guests can hear every word of your vows. When your voice gets low and it starts cracking from the emotion, and Aunt Sally's in row 7 and she can't hear you now. You want her to hear you, right? Yeah, we'll make sure that happens. And if they say, how will you do that? We say, we have the right technology, don't worry. You won't see the microphones on the photos and videos. It's very discreet. Hello. Then you can tell them. And then ask for the sale. That was yesterday's presentation. If you don't ask,
No.
isn't it though, right? The answer is always no. It's so true, whether it's the upsell, the sell itself, just asking. You can ask for that phone call, you can ask for that meeting. Again, don't do it right away, but you can ask for it. Because that's true of that as well. And by the way, if you come to my table, you'll see these cards. There's a few of them left. And if your customer sees it and says, hey, what's that? You just say, if there's anything you want for your event, and you don't ask me, you can't do it. So if you don't ask, the answer is no. So it works for them too. I could have made cards that say get them for every dollar they have, but that wouldn't have been quite as. I didn't think that would be the one to go over there. So we'll do that over there. Reducing the friction makes it easier to sell, which means for you and your team, and it's easier to buy for them, and buying from you specifically. How can you be the one that charges more, that's easier to do business with, and people want to do business with you because you have reduced the friction? Can you be that one? Yeah. Go through your processes. Get that WD-40 from Slovenia that's fish oil that we now know. And spray it on everything that you have. Figuratively, please. Please, don't take that literally. People send me papers with WD-40 on it. But how do you make it easier to buy from you? And that's the key. I'll have these cards there. Scott, do we have any time for questions?
You know, I can't even give you the 10-minute warning because you are so professional. You now have 11 minutes.
Anybody have questions? Come to the middle for Scott. Don't go easy on me. There you go.
So, for all, oh yes, oh hello. Hi Alan, it's Jason from England.
Yes, we had dinner together last night.
We did,
At the
yes.
Meat Fest, yes.
So in your presentation you spoke about giving people options in terms of what to do next on your website. Are we saying like a banner going across with various buttons on it? Is that a good idea?
You could have a banner with various things, but I think it should be in text and buttons.
Right.
So what would be a thing? You're showing them a photo booth. And you'd say, if you'd like to check availability, get a price quote, or speak to one of our specialists, call, email, text, or click here to contact us. And then have a button that says contact us. That's a call to action.
Oh,
But see, call, text, email, those are all the different ways to do that.
I see.
You'll see that on my website. You want to see it, I'm not a hypocrite, go to alanberg.com. You'll see short testimonials, calls to action everywhere. Same thing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jason.
Hello.
I'm Brian, I'm out of Vermont. So I'm still using a PDF that I send out as a contract to my clients. What would you recommend to digitize that to make it easier for them to fill out so they don't have to print, send it back?
Okay, there's a lot of things you can do. So if you're using Acrobat, if you have the full Adobe suite, you can do e-sign, which I use them for. DocuSign is another. Dropbox has an e-sign option. So you can take a Word document, a PDF, or things like that, and then you can make it so they can't change anything, but you put the fields where if they have to fill in something, they can type it, put a date, type a name, do an e-signature. It's actually really easy. Because I didn't know how, and then I just went and looked up, and wow, that was nothing to it. And the customers just sent it back, it was signed. So again, you can, if you have if you're paying for the Adobe stuff, just use Acrobat. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I love that comment, if you're paying. Alan, you have a phrase that you like to tell people about paying for things?
Yeah, you have to invest in your own business the way you want other people to invest in you. So I pay for the whole Adobe suite, I pay for Dropbox, I pay for Canva, I pay for Animoto, I pay for Vimeo, because I want people to pay me, right? If you're looking for everything for free and you want people to pay you, you're a hypocrite. I'm sorry I said it. No, I'm not sorry I said it.
Hi, thank you for the presentation. Very, very awesome. It's Charles, the photo booth CEO from Hawaii. I have two brands, a photo booth brand and a photography and videography brand. I know for the photography and videography, our packages get pretty high, and so we definitely do want to be able to talk to our leads. And you mentioned to not ask for the call right off the bat once the contact form is filled out. What is your suggestion for the ideal flow once the contact form has been filled out? Like, how should we get them to?
How do you get them to the call, right? So you want to get them on the phone. If we don't do it right away, what should we do?
Right.
So the first thing is your website should offer the call. Because if they wanted a call, you make sure the phone number's there, they can click to dial, do all that stuff. The second, and somebody said this yesterday, pick up the phone if they call. So if they call you, please answer the phone. All right, the next would be, have your message. So what's the name of the business?
H&L Studios.
What is it?
H&L Studios.
Ancient?
H&L Studios. Like home number.
H&L, okay.
Thank you.
So thanks for reaching out to H&L to capture your beautiful images for your wedding. We'd love to give you more information and pricing. We want to make sure we don't leave out anything that's important to you or charge you for anything you don't need. So let me ask you a couple of questions. So first question, is your ceremony and reception happening at the same venue? Okay? They come back and they say yes. They give you the venue name. You say, that's beautiful. We work there all the time. It's fantastic. How many guests are you expecting? They give you a number. You go back. They say, that's great. How many people in your bridal party? They tell you, and you say, you know what? I just have a few other questions to get your price. Can I give you a quick call now, or would later today be better? So reel them in, like the hook is in, right? Reel them in a little, you know how fishermen do. They don't just reel them in right away. You give them a little line, and then you ask for that. Or in your first message, put a PS that says, if you'd like to arrange a call with our wedding photography specialist, call, email, or contact us today. Make sense? Okay, mahalo.
Oh, you beat me to the mahalo.
Hello, wonderful presentation, thank you. So a lot of the things you were saying as far as like emails and replying, I had a lot of that and fixed a lot of that, not sending pricing right away. So that's helped with the ghosting a little bit. However, I have photography and photo booth. So I had a client, we had set up a consultation call, bride. Everything was really good. Her and her fiance both were just like, this is great, send us the proposal or with our contract, let's get it going. I'm like, okay. They were on their way to this weekend for the President's Weekend, so they were on vacation. So sent the stuff, followed up the next day just to see if they had any questions like normal, and now it's crickets again. So I'm like, what should my follow-up question, I guess, because I don't want to be like, hope to hear from you, because that's
Right.
usually how I reply.
Yep.
And then past that, I guess, what would be like the follow-up time, like another week?
Okay, hey,
Yeah.
don't wait that long. Is Ian here from Ireland? Are you in the room, Ian? So yesterday, Ian had somebody that sounded like they wanted to do it, right? And he sent me a screenshot that he sent a message that said, hi, hope you had a great weekend. Did you have any questions or did you want to move ahead? And they came back and said, we want to move ahead. Sometimes it's just that easy. Hope you had a great holiday weekend. Did you have any questions for me about that, or did you want to move ahead so I can keep your date reserved?
Okay, and then after that,
If you don't hear back, give it another day or two, not a week.
okay,
Give it a day or two. It's getting stale every day. I give it another day or two, and then try something similar to that again.
and then if nothing,
Well, I have a book, Why Are They Ghosting Me? It's got a lot of tips in there or whatever. Come and see, there it is. Come and see me at the booth. All my books are there. I have all 8 books there. Thank you.
Ghosting, one of my favorite books of yours, Alan, and they have audible versions as well. So if you like his voice, you're going to love his books.
I can read you my books. Y todos mis libros disponibles en español si necesitan. Not an audible, but yeah. Imposible.
Hi, I'm Brandon from 302 Photo Booth in Delaware.
Hey, Brandon.
And we tried using Bark and thumbtack.com to juice up leads. And people are really transactional and just focused on the bottom dollar.
Right.
Any recommendations for how to approach them?
Well, you're going on a site that is priced first. That's the focus of Bark and Thumbtack. So that you can't expect people to not be looking that way because that's what those sites do. So I would try different advertising methods But there are people that are getting business from those that are, you know, but they're typically not the more higher price points. So if you're trying to get more profitable business, you know, do you really want more inquiries? Not if they're not paying a lot of money, right?
No.
I'd rather see you invest in Instagram ads or Facebook ads or The Knot or Wedding Wire or stuff like that if it's weddings. Because, real quick thing on advertising. Advertising is about audience. Now this is from a guy that sold wedding advertising, published 2 wedding magazines. I was vice president of sales at The Knot. I was there for 11 years. I always told my reps, we don't sell ads, we sell audience. The audience that you're buying doesn't exist anywhere else. That thumbtack audience, that bark audience, they don't exist anywhere else. Some of them do, but as a group they don't. If you do wedding expos, love the face-to-face, the FaceTime, that audience, that day will never exist anywhere else. So that's what you're buying is the audience. Where is the audience that you want? That's where you invest, right?
Thank
But
you.
first, ask about the audience, then ask how much it costs, right? Are they in your area? Are they right demographic, the right psychographics and stuff? Yeah,
Ooh, psychographics, another
Yeah.
conversation.
yeah, that's a Scrabble word right there.
I know.
Hi, I'm Kate with NWA Photo Booth and Photo Booth Resource Co. I want to talk about, or ask you a question about friction in sales and if there's ever too many things on your website. So for example, if I have 3 photo booths, do I need to have all of them on my home page or do I need to have a button that says click for packages or booths here?
What type of events do you do?
I do a lot of corporate and a lot of weddings.
Okay, if I had your business, my website would be about weddings, corporate, if you have a blog, maybe a gallery, contact. I wouldn't have booths because people think in terms of my event. And then on that page for weddings or that page for corporate or schools or mitzvahs or quinces, you can talk about all the things you can do for them because maybe all the booths aren't right for them, right? You can have a lot of redundant content. But on the wedding page, you're going to talk about your wedding, your guests, your ceremony, your cocktails, whatever. On the corporate page, you're going to talk about your business meeting, your holiday party, your team building, your whatever. And that's the results you're going to give them are based upon that. So that's the way I would do it. Yes, can you have too much on a website? Absolutely, if you try to give everything to everybody when it might be relevant.
Perfect, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Last question?
Yes, but please, as you were about to say, I'm sure, do not put pictures of your equipment on your site.
It is Vegas. You just keep throwing me those softballs, I'm gonna, I'm sorry. I feel like I'm a stand-up now. Try the deal, yeah.
Yes, I had a question about the contracts, notary you mentioned prior to the electronically sign, you had them printed out and take to the notary. Now, switching over to the electronic signing, is the notary necessary?
Well,
Or
a notary wouldn't be necessary for your contract. An e-signature is perfectly legal. In my case, it happened to be I was dealing with my dad's estate and they needed it to be notarized, so I had to print it, bring it, notarized, put it in an envelope, send 3 copies over to wherever it was, so that had to be notarized. There are notaries that will come to you, which I found out as well, but your contract doesn't need to be notarized. Your contract just needs to be signed, and you can make sure it's checked by an attorney, but your contract is perfectly legally binding with an e-signature. We do everything e-signatures these days is legally binding, so there you go. Yeah, but notarized, you shouldn't need notary for anything for your stuff.
Thank you so much.
You welcome.
She was supposed to be last, but he promised me he would be doing a quickie.
Once again, it's Vegas.
Okay, thanks.
We are going down the wrong path here.
Real quick,
Yeah.
Michael Hawker, Hawkman Entertainment, out of Michigan Photo Booth Company. Just on your call to actions, the header on my website on every page never goes away. And, oh, I'm sorry. The header never goes away, so when you're scrolling down the page, everything's always at the top. Do we still need to litter the page with call to actions?
Okay, the answer is yes, you need to not litter the page, you need to pepper the page with calls to actions. But here's why. That header on mobile is going to become the little hamburger menu. And it may not have call us or whatever at the top. I have the top of my website too. However, when you scroll down, you don't have all that stuff. And the other thing is that we're humans, and in this country, we read left to right. So top left to the bottom right, that's the way we read. We don't tend to look back So the call to action has to be where we're looking, and when I scroll, it has to be where I'm looking. And when I scroll, it has to be where I'm looking, right? So you don't want to have it once. Redundancy is your friend, right? Why would you not have it, right? Is there any good reason not to tell them to contact you again? No, but do it in the context of what they're reading. So again, if you go to my website, you're on the mastermind page, there's going to be a call to action about availability. You scroll down, it's going to be another call to action, a little bit different, but same things. You scroll down, there's some buttons, and that's what it is. They keep going, just like the testimonials. I have pages that have 12 and 15 testimonials, one at a time, one sentence at a time. You don't feel like, oh my gosh,
You know the roof on fire.
Oh, you misunderstood.
here we go.
I'm turning it up and he's turning it down thinking you're talking.
Well, I started with the cult fire woman, and now the roof's on fire.
The
So
roof
I think
is
I'm
on
done.
fire.
Thank
Thank you very much, Alan Byrne. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Alan is gracious with his time and his talent and his information. So you know you can catch him in the back of the room for some additional Q&A. Plus he has a booth at the show when the showroom floor opens. Speaking of the showroom, be sure to join us for the Hall of Fame Awards presentation for photo boothers and mobile DJs. All happening tonight at 9:30 in the showroom.
I resemble that.
Yeah, to
My
go.
7-year-old